One, two, three, four.
And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Breakfast with Brothers.
It's your breakfast, homies. You know us. You love us. We're back again with another beautiful installment of an episode. And today is a perfect day to go ahead and talk about what? Let the people know, buddy.
Halloween, spooky stuff, candy, whatever encapsulates the spookiness of October.
October. I was going to say for us, Halloween, I feel like encompasses all that stuff. I don't know what that is for other people. You know, maybe other people's Halloween is chugging some ramen and putting down a case of Busch Light. I have no idea. But for us, definitely the candy, definitely some spookies, and I don't dress up anymore too much, but it used to be a super vibe, going out and dressing up for parties, or when we were kids, dressing up to trick or treat and stuff like that. There were even times when I was dressing up for like work stuff too, but I don't know. I guess I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like other people aren't doing that, you know, the dress up at work and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like tomorrow's Halloween, and I don't think anyone's gonna dress up here, but knowing some of these guys, they just might. But I don't think they want to do tree work in a costume. I think that would be kind of weird and uncomfortable and extremely sweaty. But, yeah, no, I mean, I've definitely had a few costumes, a fair share of costumes. Some cool, some really lame. Can't lie. Some I just didn't put any effort into, and sometimes that's just how it goes. You're just like, I don't want to buy another costume that I'm going to be completely uncomfortable in for the next 13 hours. So,
right, of course.
I think we both went through our fair share of cool costumes and lame costumes.
Well, I was gonna say I'm thinking about what my cool ones were. Like if I had to make a top three, and I can't really remember too much when I was a kid as far as like picking out certain directions. But there was one year that I really messed with my costume because it was something that I never went in like a scary direction with my costumes. I was usually doing something cool or like based around like action movies or funny stuff or whatever. But this one specifically was from Scream, and I dressed up with the Scream mask and then had the full black robe, and my mask could pump blood through it. And at the time, to me, like just looking at it, like thinking about what Scream was as a movie, like it terrified me. That stuff freaked me out. Of course, you know, it came a couple years later with all the parodies and stuff like that. But going in that direction of what it was scary was definitely one of my top three. The other two were, oh man, what did I do that one time? Yep. It was our senior year of college, junior year. Doesn't matter. Regardless, we were throwing a house party, and the whole gang was trying to do like a themed thing, and we ended up doing pimps and escorts. Which, who knows, if you're listening, you might not agree with that at all. But we thought it was hilarious because we just dressed up in, the equivalent of our outfits of like the Players Haters Ball from Dave Chappelle. So it was like we were, doused up in fake jewelry and like funky looking ties and jackets and stuff. And then, obviously the ladies were getting a little promiscuous and, trying to put on the cool lipstick and, have their hair, super slick and perfectly wavy. And then of course, the outfits being, what do you call it? Like skin tight, like hugging. So it was just like the perfect opportunity for, whatever it was, like 12 to 15 of us to just rock and roll. So that one took the show for me. And then my third, I don't even know what would compete with that stuff. I feel like it's something super basic that I was just like, oh man, I'm not going to do a thing, and little to no effort. And then it turned out perfect. It was just like the best costume idea because it was so simple. I wish I could tell you what it was, but it'll come to me. What do you got for top three?
Top three. Let's see. I was trying to remember as I was listening to you. I think what was it? One year I went out with my buddies in high school, and I was Carl from The Walking Dead. Just
Yeah.
because at the time I had like a bowl cut going on, so like my hair like it flared just like his and everything. So I was like, yeah, why not? So that was a pretty cool costume that I made myself. It was pretty easy to like kind of make. Um, at the time when The Walking Dead was coming out on TV,
Right.
so it's like
Right.
I matched the character's outfit and rocked it. So I did that one. I'd say that one was pretty cool. I enjoyed wearing that one too. It was easy, um, which is always like if you're walking around, because high school, of course, you're gonna keep going out and trick or treating. Who
Oh, for sure.
cares? Everyone wants free candy. Um, so like we walk around and everything. It was perfect. It was perfect for that night. Um, Another costume. I'm trying to think. Trying to think what I did in college. I don't think I did anything crazy in college. I was usually, as I got to college, I got a little lazy with my costumes, just because I was basically broke. Um, so it was always like,
Had to
trying
get
to,
creative with it.
yeah, trying to make something quick. Um, I can't remember anything that I did. Um, I don't know. I'll just go back to some of like my costumes that I had when I was younger. Like, dude,
Hmm.
dressing up as a Power Ranger, power move. It was sick.
The Power Ranger days. Yep.
Yeah, his Power Ranger was sweet. I think I was Red Ranger. Um, of course, that one was pretty cool. And then I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've had like I do a different costume every single year, so it's not like I have any like that I really liked or really enjoyed. I'd say those two were probably cool. I'll think of something else too if I can, but honestly, nothing else is coming to mind. Like I think last year I was like the Grim Reaper. That was pretty cool actually. I made my own like I was like the young Grim Reaper. So like I had like all black on, but I had like kind of like tighter jeans, a tighter hoodie, and I used like the hood and I made like a shroud in front of my face, and then made my own scythe out of like stiff cardboard, like really solid cardboard. Um, so that was a lot of fun. I'd say that one was one of the ones that I like actually put like some good effort into. The shroud though was a little too dark, so it was kind of hard to see, but it
Right.
was
But
still pretty sweet. I did look
worth
pretty
it
cool.
regardless. Worth it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, those are kind of the three that I got. Um, can't think of anything else. I don't think anything tops those three. But I'm sure I'm probably forgetting something that was probably awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to think back to times that we were going out, and a few of those younger years where we were trick or treating in Long Island, and then there were some other opportunities when we were trick or treating in and around Sullivan County somewhere. And then there may have been a couple years where like we didn't, or if we did go, it was like just for a quick hour or something like that. It's honestly like hard remembering back to those days because one specific time of the year, and then also trying to remember what that costume was, and it was just like super blank. So of course the notable ones I easily remembered, but then the other ones it was just like eh. And then the latest ones were all coming through college and stuff where like you said, being broke, not wanting, or even if we weren't broke, not wanting to spend the money on costumes because it was like, oh well, I could just go thrift, and pay for a few dollars worth of clothes, from a local Goodwill or something like that, and just put something
Yeah,
together. And that's what it usually ended up being. And it ended up being funnier that way because at the time, like we weren't dressing up to impress the parents and the people and the grandparents that were giving away candy for trick or treating. We were just either A, having some type of costume party, with our buddies, or B, some type of house party where we were just not like mandatory costume, but everyone's gonna dress up. So if I don't, I'm gonna be the odd one out type thing. So let me, try to do a little something here. And I felt like that's the majority of what my like late high school and college stuff was, where it was like yeah, I'm not like huge into dressing up anymore, but if everyone else is gonna do it, it's that one weekend of the year, whatever, where I'm just gonna go, have a ball and look like a dummy or look like a baller. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd pull off something and I'd surprise myself. So I'm sure you felt the same way.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the amount of times that I've like made costumes, like sometimes it's like this is kind of garbage. Um, and then sometimes it's like, wow, dude, I actually pulled this off, and it looks pretty damn good, and I can't complain.
Oh, 100%.
But I will say, like a lot of the stuff when we were trick or treating in Long Island, we have family down in Long Island, and so we would go to, I don't know, basically these rich neighborhoods that like was surrounding our family's house. So we would go out and we would get all these, we were taken to like the best spots or like the biggest houses, and we'd come out with like candy bars, like full size
Oh,
candy bars. And it's like that's the stuff I
yeah.
remember like for those nights, like coming back to the house afterwards, helping our grandmother hand out candy if kids were coming or still or whatever it was.
Mm,
It's like that
that's
stuff,
true.
that's the stuff I remember. For one singular day within, a month, years back, it is hard to remember specifics, but I do remember the fun stuff about it. So,
That's true. I mean, I'm thinking about stuff that I got handed too, like, the full-size candy bars being, a big highlight because that was when the houses, had lots of money and they were just buying bulk candy from, BJ's or Sam's Club or whatever, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we got money like that," handing out whatever it is, hundreds of candy bars, maybe more.
facts.
And the other ones that were big to me in my mind were whenever they had those like kettle corn, the popcorn balls. Those were really good, and it
Oh,
was very
dude,
rare
they
that
were
people actually went.
yeah, they were in the little pumpkin bags, either the pumpkin
Yeah.
bags
Oh
or
yeah.
just like a literal clear like popcorn ball. Like, do you
Yes.
remember that?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes even plastic too. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Those ones were good because it was like I feel like every time we had them, they were homemade. And if they weren't, not that I could ever tell, but it seemed like, they were homemade. Someone put some effort into it. And that's when you knew it was like you showed up at the right house. Because I know on the flip side of it, you're going to someone's house where they're handing they're handing out the Jehovah Witnesses booklets, and it's,
Oh yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like have you found God yet? Meanwhile I'm like 11 and it's like what the hell is this? Like, this isn't candy, dude. It's
Yeah,
just
what are
like
you handing me right now?
being raised up with manners. It's just like, taking it and being like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much," and then turning around and just like, "Huh?"
Yep. Yeah, no, those were never fun. But, I also understand to people who do that, we're not calling you out, but um it's not fun for a kid to receive something like that, especially if they're expecting candy. But I do understand where you're coming from, and can't call you out too harsh, but don't do it.
No, I would never step on people's toes like that. And I think majority of those people who aren't handing out candy on Halloween, like they still want to be a part of the celebration in some fashion. Because don't
Right.
get me wrong, this is not like a government holiday that's celebrated and we get vacation days for it and stuff like that. I'm not really sure where it originated and who all celebrates it besides the people who are in the U.S. and stuff like that. But I feel like those people who were handing out the excess that wasn't candy were people who followed their own religious beliefs or, didn't celebrate Halloween like that or never really understood what it meant to celebrate. So they just wanted to be a part of it in some way. And to me, that's like mad cool, because those people I'm sure never had some like of some understanding of respect for the, we'll call it a holiday. And never really got the vibe, as far as going and dressing up and going trick or treating with their parents or with their friends, or going to like Halloween parties and stuff. But they're just like, nah, you know what? I got no reason to be mad or upset or to avoid, whatever's going on. Why don't I just, involve myself, whatever. So like for them, that's pretty cool. Even if it is, getting handed a prayer booklet, or maybe I think there was another time where we got like pens or pencils or something, another thing where it was just like no candy, but the alternative. Um, so again, like Ian said, obviously not trying to shit on people here by any means, but in the light that they're just there, doing their Halloween thing, like it is cool. And it definitely brings people together. You get to meet people from your neighborhood and community together. You get to hand out, in this case, free candy, which is something that people are never doing any other time of the year. So it's just like now is that funneling into the free candy and the free dress up and being able to walk around, and it's almost like a block party on some streets too. People are driving slower, everyone's watching out. Kids are hanging out, doing their thing, running from house to house. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've always vibed with that. It's just like that one time a year where it's like, all right, go crazy, have a good time, because you're gonna be crazy later after all that candy anyway. So.
Yeah, truthful. I mean, it's like, coming back to the point, I agree with you. It's like, it's nice that for those who don't celebrate, they're still, allowing everyone else to celebrate, and in a way, they're also celebrating with you. And I think that's a cool way to look about it. But
living vicariously through them.
Yeah, exactly. And not, I don't know, not pushing them away. It's like, okay, you know what, this is what I do, so let me just let me enjoy it with them, but also spread my word however I need to, and whatever they choose to do. But yeah, no, coming back to the second thought afterwards, it's like I just love the entire holiday in general. It's I'm very much a horror buff. When it comes to anything, I love horror movies. I love Halloween in general. I always have. It's one of my favorite holidays. And it's just, I mean, it's also within one of my favorite seasons. I love fall. I love the feeling it gives, the brisk air, cooler nights, the changing leaves, everything. I love everything about it. So it's like everything kind of just mashed into 1 month. Amazing. But
absolutely, dude.
But that feeling of like walking down a street, in your whatever costume you got going on, seeing all your friends around you and all the other kids running around, trees hanging over the street, dropping their leaves, the orange hue from the street lights, all the houses lit up with their decorations, kids screaming in a good way because there's some spooky decoration on the lawn or something. Everyone running around having a good time is just like, I don't know. It's one of like the best feelings I've ever experienced, and I don't know. It's just extremely and what is it? Extremely, I don't know. It's just in every way the best feeling ever. It's just kind of a shame that today, or at least in the past couple of years, trick-or-treating has kind of took a turn to like trunk-or-treating. And that kind of was stopped. I don't know, maybe like a year before COVID actually happened, because I wouldn't blame it on COVID. I know COVID really pushed it because no one wanted to go to each other's houses and such. But I know there was a lot of like dangers with receiving candy from certain strangers, of course. There's always that danger. I mean, you remember I think we even had like, what is it? In school they would have like, what is it called? Assembly. They'd have an assembly about Halloween, and they'd be telling us and warning us about, the dangers of certain people handing out, whether it's like laced candy, putting things within the actual candy and such. And for those that are our age, I'm sure you remember like the razor blades and syringes and all that, that talk. And because, I mean, it was real at some point, these things were happening. It wasn't as often or as frequent maybe within like our small town, but maybe in larger areas, I'm sure. But especially with like maybe lacing candy, that seemed more, on par with being able to, I don't know, to conceal it. So it's like it was a huge worry And I remember when we were younger, like mom would make us go through our candy and check everything before we started eating
Oh
it.
yeah. Yes, sir.
So like
Yep.
even when we were younger, she would check everything with our candy, and then she's like, okay, everything looks good. You guys can have whatever you'd like. Um, and like I still did that as I got older too. Like I checked my stuff and made sure everything was good. It's always a worry. But getting back to
Absolutely.
my point, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? I keep yammering on here.
No, no, no. I was gonna eventually shed my thought, on the precautionary measures and stuff. But finish your thought.
Yeah. So it's like, coming back to my original thought about trunk or treating. It's like now it's only ever been trunk or treating. I know for the past like, I don't know. I want to say at least like 4 years, maybe. It's
Yeah,
only been like trunk or treating. Like I know when I went to school up in Western New York, it was only trunk or treating, and I think that's only because of the college campus being so close, like to the village. So of course, like that makes sense. They don't want college students going house to house and maybe causing a
sure.
ruckus or something. Could be an issue, and I understand that from that point of view. But like even back home in our small town, it's like I think they're mainly doing just trunk or treating. And correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but that's kind of like the only thing. And I think it's the same here in Nantucket, but I don't know for sure.
I know in some places it's like a mandate as far as they don't want people going out and going door to door, so they set up the trunk or treat, uh, locations and stuff like that. And in other places, it's not a matter of not having a mandate, but houses are just too far apart. You live somewhere in like a rural area. If you want to go trick or treating, you basically have to drive to each stop, because you're, not miles apart, but you're far enough to the point where walking would leave you, with like three houses in a mile or something like that, and that's
Yeah.
not, that's not as fun. You get a bag full of about 13 pieces of candy, and now you took 13,000 steps to do it. So it's just like, so for me, I like the trunk or treat vibe in those communities that are like that. Totally makes sense. It just works. All the people that want to come around and bless the kids of the area with all the candy and their freebies and stuff like that. Like I get it. Like that makes a lot of sense. And that's well, just people working together to come up with a different solution. But in those other places where you can trick or treat and it's totally allowed, and the community's tight knit, houses are a little closer together. You're in like small cities and stuff like that. That's where all the fun happens. Because not only, again, like I was talking about earlier with like that block party feel, where you go out and you trick or treat with your buddies, or even if not in this case, just other kids floating around the town. Like you're having a ball, going house to house. Like you hear kids like shouting across the way, like, "Oh, this guy's got so and so," or it's like, "Oh my gosh, like this house is out of candy." Their lights are shut off, or the big bowl on the front porch is empty and there's nothing left to grab. So I feel like now yeah, I would have to agree that there's a lot of places that have pushed towards that trunk or treat vibe. But I think the lack of the first way of trick or treating is has dropped off because of like certain mandates and regulations that the towns are putting up. Um, and again, that might be another safety thing, similar to what you were talking about with like checking candy and being weary of like who you're taking candy from and stuff like that. So I have to imagine it's just as the years trek on and as things get a little more shady, with who's living where and what they're allowing as far as like kids walking around, not supervised and stuff like that. So it's who's to say what the next mandate will be? I'm sure they'll just continue. I'm sure eventually trick or treating might just completely die out as far as kids and teenagers going and doing their trick or treating runs. But I'm still holding out hope. I think it'd be really cool if in the future that I have some kiddos around that I'd be able to take them, into some little busy area and just, hey, have a ball. Let's go walk this block. Okay, we're done with this. Let's go walk this block. Not only are we getting out, showing off our costumes and stuff, but now it's also like that original Halloween feel, where you feel accomplished for like going up to the house and grabbing a handful of candy, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got Laffy Taffy today. Nobody else was doing that, something like that. So it's like, I don't know, the trunk or treat vibe, all about it. Gives people a chance to still be a community, and I think the people that want to have that feel are the people that are going to go to it every time. It's just like, hey, come check it out. And then the coolest people are when they're dressing up their trunks, they're in a costume themselves, and then they also have, not just candy, like they're giving away like cookies or brownies or other baked goods. And it's just like, yeah, you walk in a circle to get your stuff and you're there for an hour or less, hell, maybe even a half hour or less. But you did your thing, you got to dress up, you got to show off, so I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and be like, trunk or treating sucks. Like, no way. I think I think there's some positives in it, and bringing together the people that, don't necessarily get to have that normal Halloween vibe. So I'm all for it. I'm all about it, no doubt.
No, yeah. I mean, I got nothing against trick or treating, in the sense that
Right,
it
and I
allows.
didn't think that by any means. Hopefully I didn't come across that like that.
No, not at all. I'm just, I got nothing against trunk or treating. I think it's a cool idea because I did it. I did it for, I think it was my senior year, and like at the time
Yeah.
I still had the minivan, and I dressed it all up with like cobwebs and all that stuff. And oh, that
Yeah.
reminded me of my costume. I was like a '70s like dancer, and I had like a massive afro and
Oh,
like
yep,
the
yep,
the
yep, yep.
big circle glasses and all that, like the peace sign and all. That was like one of my fun costumes that I like to wear. Um,
My fun.
uh, but I did enjoy the trunk or treating. It's nice for like the younger kids because they can only handle like so much anyways. So it's like you take them out to a neighborhood, they're done after like maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 houses, if that, and they're already tired and they don't need too much candy to begin with. But they still want to
True.
go out and such. So it's nice for like the younger kids, most definitely. And then like, as kids get older, it would be nice for them to like walk around and stuff. Now, I'm sure there's probably neighborhoods that still do that, the normal trick or treating. I'm sure. But it's just, it's a little upsetting that it's kind of dwindling down as the years go on, and I know things have prevented it and such. Obviously, COVID had some significance into it. No one wanted
Right.
to really
Right.
be that close to each other. But, like you said, I have hope that one day my kids will be able to run around the streets and go to random people's houses and get candy. Because it's, I don't
Absolutely.
know.
And I want to be with them for it.
Yeah, no, I want to dress up and do something with them. I don't need to dress up, but I think it'd be fun to dress up and have a blast with them. But we'll see. I think, like I said, I think I have a good head on, and a good hope for things to change in that direction. So we'll see. I don't know.
Hey, I'm always optimistic about stuff like that. So, I mean, every year we pace back to, that normalcy after everything that happened with, COVID and everything. So, Halloween just so happens to be one of those things. I don't expect people on, my street to come up to my door. And mind you, we live in an apartment complex and, a lot of the towns like that. And I'm sure there's very few trick-or-treaters that are jumping into apartment complexes and knocking on doors like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they are. Maybe people set up for that. I don't think I've ever actually lived somewhere where there's been like an excessive amount of apartment buildings versus residential homes and stuff like that. Maybe maybe I'll go walk around tomorrow. I don't know yet. But like that's the thing where it's like every different spot in and around what trick-or-treating looks like has been different. So I'm sure there's some town that's been trunk-or-treating for decades, eons. They got nothing but trunk-or-treating. They meet up at the local post office that's 76 miles away from the closest, home in that county. And it's just like, all right, we're trunk-or-treating, today, and we're going to be chilling for 2 hours. And it ends up being like a whole big thing, like a barbecue. They're roasting a pig. They're giving away candy. And they're doing like a costume contest or something. So I
That's
have
true.
to imagine that nothing like that's ever gonna die. I feel like Halloween is, yes, like we said, like not a super recognized holiday. There's only a certain percentage of people who actually celebrate in that regard. So it's like it is a time to just have a big old party. And in this case, just down loads and loads of sugary candy. So it's like a perfect excuse to just do your thing, hit your cheat day, and for me, my guilty pleasure of candy is Twix, no doubt. So it's like whenever I have an opportunity to have Twix or candy like that, chocolate, caramel, whatever, it's just like I'm there. Like sign me up. And so if Halloween's that one time of the year where I have a big excuse and I can, buy 2 huge bags from CVS, well, catch me out there with my coupons because I'm coming back with Twix.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, no, I'd say Twix is one of my favorites too. I love chocolate and caramel, and then the wafer right there. But
Oh,
I will say, like, more on the sweet side, Skittles. Skittles have always been kind of my favorite. That and Sour Patch Watermelon.
ooh,
But
yeah. Gas.
you don't, yeah, you don't really be getting the small little Sour Patch bags of watermelon. Though I did recently see that they do make small bags of the watermelon, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it feels like every year they do something different with like the small bag stuff or candies in general. Because I remember for the longest time they didn't have the little miniature like Milky Ways and Twixes and Snickers. They just had like the fun size ones. And then eventually they had the bite size like Pop'ems, and it was just like, well, now there's like 8 different kinds of like this chocolate bar or whatever it was. And it's just like once they started doing that with like the gummy candies and stuff like that, game changer. And then they started doing it with like the hard candies, like the Smarties, Sprees, like not Necco wafers, but other stuff, not Mentos or anything. I can't think of other ones off the top of my head, but in that same light, where it was like easy to send out for trick or treaters, you don't have someone diving into a deep bowl of stealing 14 pieces of candy out of you from your stash, So it's just like those little snack packs, of candy, I guess we'll call them, are perfect, epic.
yeah,
And to speak on your point about the watermelon Sour Patch Kid, probably definitely one of my go-tos besides Twix. And then the other ones I feel like I always looked forward to, was like what the heck was it? The mini Tootsie Rolls, like the flavored Tootsie Rolls. So
ooh, yeah,
so good.
dude, yeah. Oh, damn, that brought back. Yeah, I'm thinking of I guess, I don't know if it's like the green, no, it's lime. The lime Tootsie Roll. That's like my favorite. That one. And usually I think it's the cherry one, which is like a red Tootsie Roll.
It might be raspberry, dude. Whatever it is.
Maybe
The
raspberry.
red flavored Tootsie Roll. Mad good.
Yeah, both of those. Damn, I forgot about those.
I will say, you know what? I did try something. I can't remember when. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was for Grant's bachelor party recently, or it was before that. Anyway, regardless, there was someplace had Tootsie Rolls, the flavored ones. I took the lemon one, the yellow one, and I took the lime one, the green one. Put them in the bottom of a cup with some ice. Filled it with Sprite, and then in this specific instance, my drink mix was with Tito's, so it was vodka and Sprite, and wow, the lemon and lime from the Sprite, and then mixing with the like the Tootsie Rolls as they dissolve. Unreal.
Dude, I got a little nervous there. It sounded like you were making lean for a second.
No. I don't do any of that. If I was pouring Robitussin and the likes of whatever into my drink, I'm already a sleepy guy. I wake up early in the morning for work and stuff like that, so it's like I'm pretty much falling asleep at like 9:30 at night, sometimes earlier on the couch. But like if I was ever drinking lean, I'd be effed. I'd be
I
out
know,
for the
dude.
count.
I'd be
have
like
a cup at like 5 o'clock, and I'd be sleeping at 5:30, and I'd be like, exactly, just like that.
facts. No, yeah, that sounds really good though. Tito's, Sprite, and the Tootsie Rolls, huh?
No, but
Sounds-
it's good. No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I know I've seen other people do something similar with Jolly Ranchers or Starbursts or Sour Patch Kids too. Sour Patch Kids are really good, because they're gummy and they have like that artificial flavoring. Any of that
Yeah,
stuff
they
that'll, like,
dissolve
with
fast.
The Sprite bubbles, yeah, because Sprite bubbles are. I don't know if you've ever like compared what like the Sprite carbonation looks like to any other soda, but for for some weird reason, and shout out to all the people listening if this is true or not, and you've seen it too, let me know. The Sprite bubbles just go so much harder, like when they're fizzing and bubbling, and especially when you drink it, it feels like it's gonna like dissolve my cheeks apart and my Sprite's gonna fall out of my mouth. But to me, I love that. So, and when I'm mixing it in a drink, I'm like, this makes sense. It's gonna work. And well,
This makes perfect sense.
it did.
Yeah, dude, it's like the Sprite from McDonald's. Like that's the Sprite that hits completely different. Don't know what it is, but it's just like wow. Actually, I do know what it is. I guess the mixture they get or the syrup they get for Sprite and Coke. That's why it tastes so much better at McDonald's. Usually they go a little bit heavier on the syrup.
I heard that was just with Coke from McDonald's.
Oh,
But if
okay.
you've heard it was with Sprite too, then that's cool. I did not know that. The Coke I knew because they have the specifically like the original taste, and in your case, that's just a little bit thicker or heavier syrup, I guess in this case. And yes, it's good. I agree. For the longest time, people were trying to convince me that it was all in the like the girth of the straw. Like normal straws are here, like those straws were, whatever the comparison was, and it was
That
just
is a
like,
part of it.
yeah, you're just getting so much more flavor through the straws, and I'm like, I don't know if I buy that though. Like that just sounds like a cop out. Like the syrup thing makes 100% more sense.
It's a part of it. It definitely is a part of it. Like they have it down to like a science. And mom used to work at McDonald's as a manager, and she said all the other things they would
Yeah.
do with the fries and the burgers and all that. But the
Well,
straw
that,
thing,
yeah. Um,
the straw thing is definitely confirmed. Like I think it's mainly with Sprite because of how fizzy it is. It's almost like you're able to pull in more with like a better airflow, so it's like more enjoyable. I don't know. I don't know the explanation, but they did say that the fatter straw like actually does something. I'm not. Don't quote me on any of this, but it is one of the things that they do to make it more enjoyable for the consumer.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, McDonald's has come a long way with being able to figure that out, and they're one of the top people in the game as far as being able to be people pleasers and turn a not turn a blind eye, whatever that expression would be, and like giving us the opportunity to have that really good fast food experience. Obviously, it's not healthy by any means. Like, I'm not about to sit here and say McDonald's is something you should like look forward to, and go get that Sprite whenever you get the chance. But back to the main point of the fact that these things exist. The soda, going back to the Tootsie Rolls, going back to them being beast mode. It's just like those combinations only exist because we had Halloween to experiment with stuff. Like I remember like twisting up certain like Laffy Taffy flavors together, or I
Yeah,
would like do a bunch of like candy bar smushing, like chocolate candy bars with like, oh, I wonder if like Kit Kat with like a Hershey bar and a Snickers tastes good, or whatever it was. And I feel like Halloween, you're already hyped up on sugar, and your energy's going, so it's just like you're hanging out with your pals or your parents in this case, and sharing candy, like just talking about some spooky stories or whatever. And I mean, hell, besides that, it's like now we don't get to look forward to that dress up and that trick-or-treating, so those little moments where we get to make stuff like this, like the mixed drink with Tootsie Rolls in it, it's like, all right, yeah, it brings me back to that little bit of a vibe where it's like you get that one day out of the year to just kind of go buck wild, I guess you could say. So
yeah. No, I try to throw myself into it. In the sense of like doing things that encapsulate, kind of the Halloween festivities. Because I mean, like I said, I'm always watching like horror stuff. But
oh yeah,
recently, I watched. I don't know if you've watched it yet, Zach. Definitely recommend it for you and Meg. I think you both would love it. It's called
what you
Over the
got?
Garden Wall.
Mm.
It's about these two kids. kind of just waking up in a completely unknown area. Actually, not even waking up, just continuously like walking as if they got lost on the way home.
Huh.
And it was Halloween for them. They had dressed up and they were about to go trick or treating and such. Actually, I think they were at like a Halloween party or something. But besides the point, I'm not going to say any more. Over the Garden Wall, for those who've watched it, you know. And I'm sure for those who've watched it, you love it. I absolutely enjoyed it. Keljan was actually the one that showed me. Shout out Keljan.
Shout out.
But definitely recommend it. Recommend it for anyone who's listening. Over the Garden Wall. I watched it on Hulu. That's where I found it. I'm sure you could find it someplace else, but it used to air on Cartoon Network. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. I actually didn't really like it. I thought it was a little creepy at first when I was younger, but honestly, I think I just didn't get into it. I don't even think it was creepy. I just didn't, I didn't want to watch it. But how I did regret that, because it was very good. But I watch stuff like that. I'll get myself kind of in the mindset like, oh yeah, it's just like, oh, it's Halloween. It's fall. It's perfect time. Like, I'm sure I'll be watching something tomorrow because tomorrow's Halloween. I don't know if we're getting, like I said, I don't know if there's any trick-or-treating here, but I kind of doubt it. I don't think anyone's going to show up to our house. I don't know. Just because it's also like a parking lot for all our vehicles, so.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so
posted up on like the little porch steps that lead out of the building, just lawn chair, bowl of candy, ripping a beer, sunglasses on in the middle of the night, just waiting for people. Nobody shows up. It's like, I was here. I was waiting for you. No one came. But like, seriously though, like I would love to be that guy that is sitting somewhere just, and in this case it doesn't even have to be a busy area. Like I wouldn't mind no one coming up. Like I'm just kind of hanging out doing my thing, probably scrolling through some dumb videos or playing Clash of Clans or whatever. Like I feel like the Halloween vibe. It's just like chill out to end the night, as the switch of the generation from those who were trick-or-treating to those who were treating the trick-or-treaters, that type of vibe. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't mind having to turn to that edge of things, because now I get to see what people are dressing up as, and I get to compliment people's costumes, and I also get to be the one who picks what candy I'm giving out. Maybe one day I'll be the full-size candy bar guy. I don't know yet, but I also know that I don't want to be that generic candy guy who's giving out the classic Twix and the Hershey bars and the M&Ms and stuff. Like I want to bring in stuff that I like, a mixed bowl of, like we were saying, the Tootsie Rolls or certain Sour Patch stuff, or get really weird with it. And like I'm a big Mento fan, so I'd probably just buy the hell out of some Mentos and put the kids on. Like I don't ever remember a time when I was trick-or-treating back in the day that like I was given Mentos. And the only reason I ever learned that Mentos were good is because, Mom bought a pack, brought them home, and was like, hey, I got these for you. And I'm like, Mentos? What the fuck? Tried them, and then changed my life. And here I am, 26 years later, just like, wow, Mentos, yeah, top 5 for sure. So it's like those things where it's just, I'm trying to think of some obscure candy that never pops up. Like if someone gave me a pack of the wax bottles with the juice in it, I'd be over the moon. Like those things are so good.
I think they're called nickel nip or something like that.
Nickel nips, yep.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, yeah, so, I wanna hand out candy now. It's like, I don't know. I always enjoyed it when people were excited to see like our costumes and stuff and gave us good candy and such. It's like I want to be that guy that's handing out the king size candy bars. Like I don't care if I got to spend
king size nonetheless.
I don't care if I got to spend like over $500 for just the night. It's like, dude, like whoever's going to show up to the door is going to be so excited once they get like such a massive candy bar, whether it's a kid or like a young teenager, whatever it is, or just a teenager. They're going to be like, yo, this is awesome, dude. You're cool. Like, no, but it's just like the fact of like, oh yeah, like people are going to come here to the house because they know going to get good candy, but it's also like I want to give back. It's like, I don't know. It's a cool thought. I'd love to, I don't know, just the thought of just sitting out on my porch and doing whatever, waiting for, people to show up, hand some candy out, enjoy the night, dress, put put up decorations and such, make it real spooky on the lawn or something. Dress up in like a werewolf costume and sit there motionless and then scare the crap out of people. I'll do that
too. That brings an incredible point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your thought, but
no, you're
thinking
fine.
about that, another huge core memory of going to certain houses where people would have, some scarecrow on the front stoop that just had the bowl, in their arms. And majority of the time it was just, a prop. It was a decoration. And, people were just doing their Halloween thing, making their house look funky and whatnot. But in this specific case, like thinking about the one time that I think, I don't know if it was one of the first times I met him, or if it was, one of the first few. I had already known who he was, and I was just getting to know him. But you remember Cameron Reichenbach and his old man, Eddie? Always, cracking jokes, funny guy. Back when, I don't know if he or his mother or maybe his sister, they were living in those Liberty apartments up in and around like Lincoln Street.
No, dude, it was Cookie. Do you remember Cookie?
Cookie. Okay, yes. Perfect. Okay. So exactly the whole reason why they were there. Money. And Eddie in this case was dressed up. I knew this after the fact, but I didn't realize it was him until after the fact. Dressed up, in like like a normal the equivalent of like a Scream outfit, but like a little different, more like just ghostly like character figure. And just hanging out on the steps, doing his thing, just kind of doing the Halloween vibe where it was just like sitting on the step, motionless, and you literally looked like a prop, something that they set up, as like a dead ghost character or whatever it would be. Just hanging out on the steps, and I'm the first one to walk up with Ian behind me, and Mom I think was in tow with us as well, keeping an eye on us. Walking up the steps to go into the like the little lobby there, because that's where all the ladies were hanging out, the older folk and whatever. And next thing I know, Eddie's reaching out, grabs my ankle, and I damn near shit myself because I'm just like, oh my god, just like almost literally that reaction, and ready to just start throwing hands where it's just like, what the was that? And all I hear is, just like Cameron come from like down the stoop, and then Eddie's laughing and stuff like that. Oh, I got you so good. And boy, did they, because it was just like, those were the times where it was like, all right, trick-or-treating, it's got its things, nothing too scary. Like haunted houses didn't really scare me too much, and like I'd be the kid to walk on the lawns with all like the weird pop-out stuff. But it was a completely different story when you weren't expecting it. You thought it was fake, and then you got bamboozled. It was like, you spooked me, you got me good. So those like little actual tricks were like awesome, and being able to remember stuff like that, it was like getting actually scared, and actually a little terrified. It was just like, yes, needed that, let's go. It's just like those are those core memories for sure. And in that case, getting to know who Cameron and Eddie were, it was mad funny because he's a funny dude. So knowing him, that's just like, that's who he is, his character. So who knows, maybe one day I get to be that guy. I'll dress up as the scarecrow who's fake, but actually not fake at all, and he's like flipping candy bowls into people and just freaking out half a dozen kids at a time. Like, I hope I get to be that cool one day.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, I do remember that exact moment too. Like, I was just as scared as you were. But, what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, you get, like, I remember, being younger, and like every house that I went up to after like that first one that wasn't a prop, it's like I got good at like realizing which was real and which wasn't. A lot of the times they don't put shoes on the mannequins if they're using a fake one. Look out for shoes.
Huh.
That's all I'm saying. I got really good at noticing
I've
which
seen
ones.
some the shoes played up, as part of the fake out. I've seen
Well,
it.
if the shoes are there and you don't see, anything going on, look for slight movement. I was really good at just noticing it because I didn't want the shit scared out of me.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, no, like I don't know. I think it'd be fun to do that once, like maybe every other year I'll do it or something like that as I get older. Just scare the crap out of people.
Oh, dude, got to.
I will
And
I
I
will
think
say
we'll
though.
definitely get there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I will say though, I am not a fan. Being a horror buff, I'm not a fan of haunted houses. Never have, probably
Mm,
never will.
mm.
Um, I think now I could probably get through one, but I just choose not to go because, well, truthfully, I don't want to be like grabbed or chased or anything like that for whatever reason. I don't know. I think it's too much for me. Like I love horror, but I think the act of being within it is not a great feeling for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that stuff was always one of those like gut turning feelings. Like whenever I was standing like in line going to the haunted house or whatever. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love haunted houses and like being able to go in there, but I don't think I've ever been able to like shake that feeling of like, oh, like this make me a little nervous. Like, what if, like, of course, in the back of my mind, like I'm always thinking like, what if I got hurt, or what if someone injured me or whatever. It's like, what if I got too scared? That like I had a heart attack or something. Like, I don't think anything like that would ever happen. But of course, when you're talking about getting scared, your mind always goes to like worst case scenario. So
right.
for me, it was
Yeah.
like getting past that was me being able to conquer the haunted house. It was like that little feeling of anxiety. And then actually going in the house, it was like, all right, all right, I'm with people. I'll just like make the situation really light. I'll try to joke around about it, and then it's just like, getting spooked or, whatever, getting I guess haunted in this case. So it's like, no, I'm definitely a fan of the haunted house, and I don't think I've been to like a super good one in a real long time, and the ones that are actually good, are hard to come by. And if it is really good, there's just parts and pieces to it that come together, and then some other pieces fall apart. So it's been a long time since I've been to like a really good one that was put together. That aura that surrounded it was like spooky the whole way in. Like driving there, parking, waiting in line, getting through it, even coming out and finishing. It was just like I'm feeling uneasy. Like that type of thing, where it's like that's what I would want to be. I don't, not that I'm trying to be like disturbed and nauseated, but I think I want to be quivering, quivering in my boots type thing.
Yeah, dude. I think the last haunted house I went to was in high school. I think
Mm.
with again Keljan, and
Hey,
I think
shout out.
his mom and dad took us and a couple of other friends, and we all went to the haunted house together.
That's sick.
I can't remember who else was there specifically. It might have been like, I don't know, like Jeet and Jeremy maybe, and then maybe who else? I don't know. Either way, we all like went through the haunted house and such, and like that one I was not a huge fan of, but it wasn't too bad from what I remember. It's definitely scary. Definitely had me almost shitting my britches. Um, but it was still a fun time. I think after I got out, it was like, yeah, okay, I did that. I'm good for the rest of my life.
I'm good for the rest of my life. I wonder why, like with Halloween, you think about other stuff that makes you happy, makes you sad, makes you think, makes you wonder, makes you question, like why we get drawn to the part that makes us scared or makes us feel not what am I thinking of? Unsure, makes us feel unsure. Like I wonder what draws us into that feeling that it's just like, is it the adrenaline like that we feel from it, like getting scared and then being like, oh my god, I'm not dead, or is it like what do you think exists for us to want to be able to crave like the spooky and the tricky and the unnervingness that is like Halloween and stuff like that.
I think it's merely curiosity because
Mm.
simply because we don't normally get as scared as that. It's not like a normal thing to get a thrill of such, I don't know, I guess magnitude would be the word, because most times like you're not accessing that adrenaline as frequently as you would, especially like in like a haunted house, because that like it turns on to your fight or flight mode in some cases, and like maybe like really scary situations in a haunted house you'll like go into fight or flight, and majority of the time like people understand that it's immediately just flight, not fight, because they still have like the cognition to say like, okay, well, this is all fake, like they're just going to chase me, they're not going to like grab me and like throw me against the wall, start beating the crap out of me or anything like that. Well, that would be pretty crazy, but I think it's merely like curiosity in the sense of, if you're asking more on to like the spooky side of things, ghosts have always been like, people's curiosity. Some say they don't believe, some say they believe. It's either one. Truthfully, I believe just in this situation, I'm very much like interested in that fact of the supernatural that feeds into the rest of like, the spooky stuff going on. All these like horror films, it's like people want to be scared because I think it's mainly because they don't experience that feeling as often as like say like happiness, sadness, uneasiness actually would be within like the idea of being scared, like this uneasy sense. Most people want that uneasiness within a corner that they're comfortable in. So most people watch horror movies at home. They want to feel uneasy or scared, even though they're within the confines of something comfortable. They can control it without actually experiencing that feeling in real life, because no one wants to feel uneasy.
That's good. That's a good point. That last part right there. That's a super good point.
Yeah, no, I think it's merely just like curiosity, and because there's millions of things out there that people have experienced that are terribly scary, and makes just hearing about it like makes people feel extremely uneasy.
Yeah, or traumatized as well.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. And so, most people don't want to go through that, I would think. I would hope, especially in some of the more extreme scenarios. And then
Sure, absolutely.
you hear some of these like horror films like based on true events. Some say true story, where it's actually like this is the actual story. True events is more or less like some of these things happened, but the rest is kind of like filled in to make it really scary.
Right, we're relaying it differently. Right, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, those ones freak me out. Like especially with The Conjuring. Is a big movie series that I got really into.
Yep.
And that coincides with like Annabelle, and the Nun and stuff like that. And there's a whole universe surrounding like that Conjuring movie titles and stuff like that. So stuff like that, like I wouldn't ever want to wish those circumstances on anyone else. And I know if I were in it, it would just be like, yeah, I'm good on Halloween. Like I never need to be scared again. Like I lived it and I hated it, and yeah, here I am. It's like I feel like those scenarios probably push people in like a different direction, and Halloween and like the urge to bring on fear is like comes at a completely different cost and scenario. So it's like, but yeah, I mean, regardless, it's like a cool thought, to be able to have like Halloween and feel that curiosity, as far as being scared or just being uneasy and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I know we're closing up shop here, but would love to hear your closing remark on that, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think one night of the year is something that people can wrap their head around for being scared. I think
I agree with that.
that's kind of like a good situation, especially for those who don't necessarily enjoy like the horror aspect or the scariness to everything. Because there are some people that enjoy it more than others, of course. But I think
Of course.
one night a year to kind of be whoever you want to be is kind of also cool to some. It wasn't really like a notion that I thought about when I was younger. It was more or less just like, oh yeah, I want to dress up as like so and so. I'm gonna be so cool. But to others, it's like, yeah, they get to dress up and be someone else for a full night, and they get free candy and get to do whatever they want. In essence. So I don't know. I think Halloween as a whole is a cool fact, especially. I shouldn't say especially a cool holiday that feeds into people's curiosity. Curiosity of the unknown. What is scary, what is uneasy, what is spooky. And I think that's, I don't know, I think it's really cool. But I'm also biased. I love Halloween. I love every part of it in every way other than haunted houses. I'll accept them, but I'm not going in. I'll drive you guys there. I'm not going in.
Heard it. Understood.
Yeah. I know people enjoy them, so I'm not trying to hate on them. I'm not a fan. But on that note, we have to wrap it up here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you're listening, it's Halloween. We're recording the day before. This should be out on the 31st. So hopefully you guys took a listen on Halloween. If not, well, you're in November. Congratulations, you missed us.
You made it.
But we hope you guys enjoyed the episode today. We hope you enjoyed all the spookiness. But we also hope, if you're listening on Halloween, we also hope you enjoy Halloween and are safe. And for any of those people that do have kids that are listening, we hope they are safe, and we hope everything goes well and everyone has a good time and you guys get a lot of candy. So on that note, we'll catch you guys next week. I'm also missing that you guys have to check us out on Spotify. And if you're listening there, check us out over on YouTube.
Skibbity.
And if you're not listening on YouTube, well, you better figure out one of the two. So thank you guys so much. We'll catch you next week, and we'll catch you on the flippy flop. Peace.